let's have a look at my last year or so here on Booktube. Hello everyone, welcome back to A Fictional Escapist. My name is Kris, and today's video is looking back over the last year that I've had here on the platform, or around about a year, and talking about some of the things that I have learnt about myself or the platform itself in a bit of a reflection discussion style video. Before we jump into that, make sure you're checking the description box down below for links to my Discord and social media should you want to come along for the ride. So in early 2022 I thought, hey, maybe I could start doing a hybrid reading vlog channel. It was something that I loved to watch, and I still really love reading vlogs, particularly when we get a sense of who that person is outside of just the Booktube community, and also, you know, their reading tastes along the way. I love that content. It is something that I will generally always watch from people that I follow. If the reading vlog comes up, there's some content that, you know, I don't necessarily read. A lot of the reviews, if I'm planning on reading those books, I'll wait to watch it until I've read the book, so my own review's not skewed, things of that nature. Or people tend to have reading tastes that don't align exactly with mine, and that's completely fine. But if a reading vlog comes up, I don't really care what genre that person is reading. And the best example I can give you is Noelle Gallagher. I'm not sure how to pronounce her surname. She reads romance, a lot of romance, and very little that I would also read, except for maybe some of the classics. And I adore her channel. I really, really do. So I thought, you know what, maybe I'll try my hand at reading vlogs and see what happens. I've been on Bookstagram for a little while, probably from June or July in 2021. And I'd been thinking about Booktube. I already had a YouTube channel, and I sort of knew that was going to wind to an end of what I needed that channel for, and I thought, hey, maybe I'll give this a go. So I had my first video come out, I think it was the end of January vlog, and it came out in February, and I haven't looked back ever since, and I've really loved my time here. So these are a few things that I have learnt or discussed or have just been a part of in the last 12 months or so. First thing is, the online book community feels like home. No matter how big or small that circle may be, every time I make a video or post over on my Bookstagram or just chat to someone on the Discord, there is this sense of belonging and comfort. Like I haven't had that anywhere else in my life before. And yes, to a certain extent, when I was transitioning and I was part of those communities and asking questions, there was a very comforting sense there, but I didn't want that to be my whole personality. So finding Booktube and Bookstagram and Discords and other book people really have just... It feels like I found my people and I found my peace here on Earth with this beautiful group of individuals, no matter where we are in the world. And then to follow on from that, I would like to sort of narrow down as point 2 being that the indie community is where I want to be. The indie science fiction and fantasy community is home to some of the most humble and the most wholesome people humanity has to offer. Through my interactions with authors and readers alike, I've come to really understand that you're just a wonderful group of people, and it's been such a beautiful experience for me to have had on this channel. And it really just pushes home the point that indie and self-pub and these people who will jump in and help you with advice on books, or help other people with advice on books, or give constructive criticism or praise, it's never ending. And no one has ever, in my experience and looking at other authors and other people who are, you know, in this world on social medias, no one's ever pushed away. And if you don't know how to help someone, people go, maybe this person might be able to help you. And it's just a wonderful, wonderful community. Something that I really enjoy over on Twitter is maybe an author's having some imposter syndrome, having some doubts, and just the general support for that person, and not just shoving positivity down their throats, but you know what? It's okay. Imposter syndrome is a normal part of this process, and there's just this overwhelming support for those authors and the readers as well. We love interacting with the authors, and it's just a little cozy circle of people from around the world. Number 3 is I've definitely learned that I am passionate about other people's passion and doing what I can to bring that to the front of my life to help in any way that I can. There will be more on this topic in my goals of 2023. That is why Rachel and I are starting a business which combines some editing elements and also marketing for the indie SFF world. But I just want to say that there is nothing better, in my opinion, than listening to someone talk about just how excited they are about a particular topic. It doesn't matter to me if I understand the topic or not, but hearing someone be passionate and excited about something is so invigorating to me as a human, and I just really, really love it. And coming onto this platform, I am now surrounded by people who are as excited about the things that I'm excited about, and that has been an awesome experience. To get a little bit more specific about what I was saying earlier is, I am now so passionate about helping authors in any way I can, and as someone who would like to be an author before they hit their 50s, at some point in my life, I have found so much joy and so much knowledge in sharing this process with others. I adore things like beta and ARC reading. I hope that these make up a big part of my year next year, and being part of projects that help spread the word for indie authors, or just get caught up in the excitement of their works or their reads, no matter who I'm talking to about it. But I'll put more out on that in my 2023 goals. This next one sounds a little bit silly, but it is one of the most important things that I have learnt and need to reflect on, and that is, it's okay to comment and interact with other humans. It's not as scary as I initially thought. It was a large milestone for me personally. I have, and still do have, quite a lot of anxiety about putting comments on people's videos, particularly larger booktubers. Actually, scratch that. It could be any booktuber out there in the world. There are a few that I've been really lucky to have interacted with quite consistently over the last sort of few months, since they have also been on Booktube, and I'm fairly comfortable with those people. But what you don't see is, if I'm commenting on a booktuber's video, is, even if I'm saying something as simple as "great video, really enjoyed it, would like to see more of this content," is a 20-minute deliberation from hitting send, because I'm so worried about every way that that comment could be interpreted, and a lot of anxiety of, that sounds dumb, why would they care about what you have to say, happens before deleting it and walking away. I can't tell you that that still doesn't happen. It does, but I'm getting better at pressing send. And you know what? A lot of people who I follow, because they're also, part of discussion groups or the indie SFF readers, they're all lovely. They're all part of the same community I was talking about before. That's my own hang-up. This is something that I need to address. It's another goal of mine for next year, to be involved in more things like discussions and actually put myself out there for people who are having discussion series or particular series that they're reading that I'm also reading, that maybe I could contribute to the conversation. But that idea terrifies me. And I was recently on Theo's channel. He is just a beautiful human and someone who I'm very comfortable with now, so that was great. But I don't know if any of you caught my World Hoppers debut with Elliot Brooks and Roger. Roger ran one for Pride Month. I was shaking the entire time underneath the desk, so my hands, I tried to clench them because I was shaking the whole time, and it was terrifying for me. But I want to do more of that. I want to get out of my comfort zone a little bit, and that is a way that I can do it. The next one I have here, and it's pretty self-explanatory, is numbers don't matter. And I never went into this channel thinking that I'd be an instant success. I never thought that I would get 1,000 subscribers within the first year, and that I would have hundreds and hundreds of people watching what I put out into the world. This channel has never been and will never be about the subscriber or view counts. I don't care. I started Booktube to get passionate about reading again. I knew that I wanted to get into the indie self-pub fantasy sci-fi world, and this was a way that I was able to do it and talk about things that I wanted to talk about, rather than the really popular series that were going around on Booktube when I initially started, or the people I was following before I actually made the platform myself. Since then, I've met a whole bunch of people that also just like to read indie books as well, and getting to learn from them has been great. I could have 10 subscribers who chatted to me consistently about books every day. I could have 1,000 subscribers who do the same thing. I could have 10,000 subscribers who do the same thing, and I would be just as happy. Not focusing on those numbers gives me permission to create the content that I want to put out into the world. Things that don't necessarily work well for the YouTube algorithm, like indie book reviews. They don't do well on the YouTube algorithm, but you know what? If I can shout out an indie author that I've read their book and put that information out into the world, so someone who prefers a video medium comes across it and buys that book, that's great. That's all I want, is to have conversations about these books that I'm reading. Moving on from there, and something that people have said a lot this year, is mixing up genres is great for burnout. I won't spend too much on this. I know that there are like 10,000 videos out there saying how to read more, and this is one of the comments that comes up consistently, is pick up other genres that you're reading and break up what you would normally read. It really has saved me from burnout a couple of times this year, particularly in Sci-Fi September. I'm not a huge sci-fi reader. It's a genre that I do enjoy, but I find that they can be quite heavy for my brain and takes a little bit more brain power for me to follow along. So when I had a whole month of sci-fi, I needed something else. I needed something else to just break it up, break up the spacey talk, break up the philosophy, break up the thematics, because it was all fairly heavy and sitting in my brain. And from there, I've learnt that I like different tropes within different genres, which was, another part of that. But by picking up a comfort fantasy that read really fast, I was able to then continue on with that branded month, essentially. One of the biggest lessons I've had to learn is that overexcitement leads to over-promising. Hi, I'm Kris, and I was a NetGalley addict. I'm sure that a lot of new booktubers who discover NetGalley as a way to get new books and find new authors has felt the same way. There's a lot of us who go out there and we apply and apply and apply for books. We know that sometimes we'll get them, sometimes we won't, and sometimes you'll get approved for 3 or 4 that you then have to read in a month, as well as your own TBR, and it can be intimidating. So not only was I doing NetGalley, I was applying for Escapist book tours, which I adore their model, and I just wanted to be a part of anything I found remotely interesting. I signed up to be a Reedsy Discovery reviewer and review some more abstract things that, wouldn't necessarily make it on my radar otherwise. I also was signing up for ARCs. A lot of authors go onto the social media and ask for beta readers and ARC readers, and I was doing that, and even accepted some alpha reads towards the end of this year. So, while I pride myself on saying that I have not missed a deadline, or not provided a service that I said I was going to provide to that author or that institution at the time, it made reading work. And I'm someone who has a bad habit of making my hobbies work because it's how my brain operates. Sometimes if I don't tell myself that I've allowed myself time to read, for example, I feel like I am wasting time and I should be doing something more productive. So I do actively schedule reading in my day to make sure that I'm doing something that I enjoy, but it needs to be penned down. I work a 40 to 45 hour a week job, just with commutes and whatnot, and then I was probably putting another 20 to 30 hours into channel content and reading and just making sure that I had enough and I was doing enough. So there was a few months there where I was just banging out 3 or 4 videos a week. That's probably not sustainable for me going into the new year, and knowing when to pull back and make it fun again, because if I make it work, I won't want to do it. So there's a fine balance, because I really love this. I often call this my unpaid second job because it's something that I'm passionate about, and I want to continue to be passionate about that. So pulling the reins and choosing a little bit more wisely. The last thing I've learned is I will use Booktube as an excuse to not write my own books, but it does also make me more excited to see my works out in the real world. I already have a list of people I want to send my books to once they're ready to go, not even because I want their reviews and I want their influence. It's because I think they'll enjoy them. From getting to know people's tastes over the last year, I think that I have a market for what I'm trying to write at the moment, and I'm excited to see them out in the world. But I will procrastinate by doing anything Booktube related. So I tend to bulk film on a Saturday, and then I spend a lot of Sunday editing, and I'll edit during the week little bits and pieces. Some videos take forever to edit and some don't take very much time at all. Depends on how much I stuff up during the videos. But I do have some more goals surrounding writing. It's a big part of why Rachel and I are looking to move to Perth and get rid of all the external obligations that we have here in Brisbane, is that we can really just knuckle down and focus on those goals that we want over the next 5 years or so before we come back when our parents start needing a little bit of help. So those are the lessons, those are the things that I've learnt about Booktube and myself and my reading tastes and all that stuff over 2022. I am really looking forward to continuing on the platform. I have a lot of things I want to do within 2023, some on YouTube, some external to YouTube, and my own writing goals, and we'll get to all of that in January. So, what is something that you have learnt over 2022? Give me a reflection of some sort. It doesn't need to be book related at all, but I'm really interested to see what you come up with. If you like the content, give it one of those. If you want to see more of it, click subscribe at your will. I'll catch you in the next video. Ciao.